Last summer, around this time, Chris and I reacted to what was the major visual overhaul of macOS Big Sur. And now, if you haven't been paying attention to social media in the tech world, several leaked images of Windows 11 have been floating around the internet, and it's definitely a lot to take in. So today I'm going to be giving my take as a graphic designer on what Windows 11 seems to be doing right based on the leaks, and what they can definitely improve on. More on that after the intro. Welcome to Top Spec, your one-stop shop for tech content. And if you're new around here, we upload tech content every single week relating to camera gear, gaming equipment, and much more. Starting off with the basics of the OS, they seem to have reworked the Windows logo entirely. It used to be sort of an off-angle window, but now it's just front-facing with 4 squares, very similar to the Microsoft logo, except this has more gradients within it and more color. Although this logo still looks nice on its own, I do have several irks with it in relativity to the rest of the OS, which I will be getting into later. Now, branching out from the logo and looking at the desktop as a whole with the taskbar, the first thing you will notice is that they have centered the taskbar. Now, if you watch this channel, there have been a couple of videos that I've put out on how to customize your Windows desktop, and one of those things that I have included is centering your taskbar. So I'm a big fan of OSs that have a centered taskbar or dock or something like that. Like macOS having the dock in the center of the screen, I think looks really visually appealing. And Windows, I think it looks a little bit better too. But that's really up to personal preference. I know a lot of people prefer this to be left aligned. So I personally don't mind having the taskbar centered on the display. I have heard online that you can actually change it back to left aligned. And so if you're used to that, because that's always how Windows has been, it's always had a left aligned taskbar, you can change it back. I know it would be probably a lot to get used to after using Windows for years and years. Furthermore, moving on to the start menu, this is one of the probably biggest changes that they've done. First of all, the actual start button is on the taskbar and it's with all your icons. Not sure how I feel about that change because you still have the time and all of your notifications and whatnot on the bottom right hand corner, but the start menu for some reason has been moved from the left end of the taskbar to the center. I feel like it probably would have been better if they kept it to the left just to stay consistent and to have something on both sides of the taskbar. Now, the actual start menu that opens when you press the start button is, I think, a welcome addition. I mean, the menu looks very, very clean. The one main thing that you'll notice is the rounded corners. Microsoft sort of pulled that out of Apple's book, if you will. I personally don't mind. I think rounded corners are a really nice thing to have. I think it makes it look a little bit more natural and organic and a little bit more creativity inspiring. Now, as for the actual usability of this menu, it seems to be just about the same as the previous one. Yes, things have been a little bit rearranged, but I do think that this looks much better and it probably maintains all the functionality that it had before. One thing that I'll point out is that since it opens up in the center of the display, it kind of reminds me of Chrome OS. If you've ever used a Chromebook or something like that, that's how their software looks. A lot of things just open up menus in the very center of the display. Which I don't mind. I think Chrome OS is a decent software, and Windows utilizing that, I think, isn't too big of a deal. Then again though, like I said, I would probably prefer this menu to be on the left end of the screen, just because, once again, you've got the time and stuff in the bottom right hand corner and then just nothing in the bottom left hand corner. So it looks a little bit off having the taskbar centered and then a bunch of notifications and whatnot on the right hand side. Now, moving on from the start menu and desktop and into the operating system as a whole, pretty much every single menu now has rounded corners on it, which, like I said before, is, I think, a very welcome addition. I don't mind rounded corners. I think they look much nicer, more organic, more natural. So I really do not mind that at all, and I think it's a welcome addition to the software. So now at this point in the video, I'm going to get into my main issues that I have with this software update. First of all, when comparing Windows to Mac OS, there are a lot of things that Mac just does so much better than Windows does, and I feel like Windows could drastically improve their software by just doing a few simple things. First of all, in Windows, this is kind of the same with Windows 8 and Windows 10. You kind of have almost 2 different operating systems in one operating system, if you know what I'm saying. Pretty much if you open the settings menu, it looks one way, but then if you open File Explorer or Control Panel or Task Manager, it looks another way. So this can be really jarring to look at and just really odd in general, because Microsoft, they're putting in a lot of effort into perfecting the overall usability of the desktop and the settings and task manager and the start menu, but then they just kind of leave File Explorer and control panel and whatnot in the dust. This is also where I would like to bring up the new Microsoft logo that I was talking about before. So in the settings menu, everything is very flat and clean looking. All of the icons are very minimal. It's usually one solid color on a black or white background, depending on if you have light mode or dark mode selected. Then they sort of bring in this other idea of having a logo with multiple gradients and several different colors going on. It's not really vector because it's got so many different gradients and whatnot. And in addition to this, they actually updated a lot of the icons in File Explorer, which I think is generally a better look than what it was previously. But I do think that it further adds conflict between these two different ideas that are going on within Windows. Now you've got these gradient filled icons within File Explorer, and then you have solid single color vector shapes in the settings menu. As a longtime Windows user, I just think it's very, very surprising that Microsoft has not realized this and updated the File Explorer and the control panel and all of those types of menus, especially when they're adding these small little incremental details like simply just rounding corners on the menus. They could have easily just updated these other menus to match what they're doing with the start menu or with the settings menu. Speaking of this, there's actually a subreddit for Windows redesigns that people create at home called r/Windows redesign. I've been part of that subreddit for a few months now, and there are so many people out there that simply are just a guy or girl with a computer working on graphics and things like that, and provide their own takes of what an improved Windows could look like. So it just continues to boggle my mind how individual users on Reddit are able to create really nice looking Windows redesigns when the actual huge tech corporation is not able to create a consistent UI within their software. Anyways, this is probably a short video. I just thought that I'd give my take on what I thought of the Windows 11 leaks. Let us know in the comments below what you personally think of the update. Do you like the centered taskbar? Do you prefer it to be left aligned? Let us know. Also, if you want more graphic designer reacts videos, let us know in the comments down below. And that's about it. I'm Connor, and this is Top Spec. We'll see you next week.